Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into the unbelievable legacy of Suni Williams. She's an astronaut who didn't just break records in space, she completely redefined what we thought was possible for human exploration. After nearly 3 decades, she's hanging up her helmet, and we're here to unpack her amazing story. To really get a sense of her journey, let's just start with a few key numbers. First up, 27. That's 27 years of dedicated service to NASA, from the moment she was selected back in 1998 all the way to her retirement. Next, 608. That's how many days Suni Williams spent living and working in orbit. Just think about that for a second. That's almost 2 full years of her life spent floating above our planet. It's an incredible number that puts her second on the all-time list for NASA astronauts. And finally, 62. That's 62 hours. 62 hours spent outside a spacecraft, tethered in the vacuum of space, doing critical work. It's the all-time record for a female astronaut, and it puts her fourth on the list of all spacefarers in history. Just wow. Okay, so those numbers are just staggering, right? But they only tell part of the story. Let's get into the why behind them, starting with the final chapter of a truly legendary career. So yeah, at the end of 2025, it was official. Suni Williams retired from NASA. And this really is the end of an era, not just for her, but for the entire agency. Her career spanned such a critical time of change in spaceflight, and she was right there, at the very heart of it all. But to really understand her impact, you gotta go back, way back. Before she was an astronaut, she was a Navy helicopter pilot, and believe me, that's just where this story of incredible firsts really kicks off. Her career with NASA was really defined by 3 long-duration missions on the International Space Station. She first went up way back in 2006, came back as the commander in 2012, and then came her final and most challenging mission in 2024. And, it wasn't just about the technical stuff. This is what's so cool about her. She was the first person to run a marathon in space. A marathon. She even did a triathlon up there. And back on Earth, she wasn't just sitting around either. She took on major leadership roles, even lived in an underwater lab, just constantly pushing the boundaries of what was possible. And then, of course, there's her mastery of the spacewalk. An EVA, that's extravehicular activity, is probably one of the most dangerous things an astronaut can do. And Suni, she spent over 62 hours out there just working, making critical repairs and upgrades to the space station. Absolutely incredible. All right, let's get to her final mission, because this is a story in itself. It was supposed to be a historic but pretty straightforward test flight. It ended up becoming a true test of her skill, her endurance, and frankly, her nerve. So picture this, it's June 2024. Williams is commanding the very first crewed flight of Boeing's brand new Starliner spacecraft. This was a huge deal, right? Another way for NASA astronauts to get to the ISS. The plan? A simple 1-week trip. Get up there, dock, check everything out, and come home. Easy. But as we all know, space is never, ever simple. There were serious technical problems with the Starliner, so serious that it just wasn't safe to bring them home in it. That 1-week trip, it turned into a 9-month ordeal on the space station, and in the end, they had to get a ride home on a completely different ship, a SpaceX Crew Dragon. The plan went right out the window. And here's the thing that's just so telling about her character. Through all that uncertainty, all that risk, her attitude was just remarkable. She stayed positive, totally professional, always talking about her love for being in space and how grateful she was. It was a complete masterclass in grace under pressure. So that final mission, as grueling as it was, really cemented her legacy. It was this stark reminder that spaceflight is still incredibly risky, but it also became this incredible showcase of resilience and the ability to adapt. And you can bet the lessons learned from that odyssey are going to be vital for every mission that follows. And don't just take my word for it. Her impact is felt right at the very top of NASA. You have the NASA Administrator Jared Isaacman basically saying her work is the foundation for what's next, for the Artemis missions to the moon, and eventually for getting us to Mars. So when you boil it all down, her legacy really stands on 3 main pillars. First, the obvious one. She's a record holder. She set the bar for time and space and for spacewalks. Second, she became this unintentional pioneer for the commercial crew program. Her final mission was a huge pivotal moment for NASA's partners. And third, and maybe most importantly, she's just an incredible inspiration for a whole new generation of explorers. You know, one career can truly change the course of human exploration. And Suni Williams' journey is proof of that. It's a testament to pure perseverance and a deep passion for discovery. She didn't just visit space, she helped pave the road for everyone who's going to follow. And her legacy really leaves us with this big question. Now that she's shown us what's possible, what new heights are we going to reach?